Many ancient cultures speak of portals to other worlds and gateways to star systems where their creators reside. Conventional wisdom tells us these tales are merely myths and legends. However, recent declassified FBI files have stated that our Earth has been visited by beings from other dimensions and planets. NASA has announced that portals do indeed appear to be hidden within the Earth's magnetic field, making some wonder if the legends of stargates, portals, and wormholes may have some degree of truth to them. 10. Gate of the Gods, Cajamarca, Peru. In 1996, it was discovered by José Luis Delgado Mamani while he was trying to learn the layout of the area for a job he had recently taken as a tour guide. The Gate of the Gods at Cajamarca in Peru is said by native tribes to have once acted as a gateway to the land of the gods. Mamani even claims that he had dreams of the doorway for years before he had accidentally found it. In his dream, Mamani stated that the pathway leading to the doorway was made of pink marble, and had also witnessed a smaller door that was open with a brilliant blue light coming from what looked like a shimmering tunnel. The doorway is actually two doorways, almost in a T-shape. The larger doorway measures 7 meters wide and 7 meters high, 22 feet by 22 feet, while the smaller one stands 2 meters high, 6.5 feet, in the middle of the base. Legends state that the larger door is for the gods themselves. The smaller door is for mortals to pass through, and some heroic mortals did, becoming immortal themselves to live among the gods. One legend of a mortal passing through the doorway appears to lend a little credibility to Mamani's alleged dream. The story says that when Spanish explorers arrived in Peru in the 16th century, looting Inca riches as they went, an Incan priest named Amaru Maru fled his temple with a valuable golden disc, the key of the gods of the seven rays. Amaru Maru found the doorway and saw it was guarded by shaman priests. He presented to them the golden disc, and following a ritual performed by the priests, the smaller doorway opened. Behind it was a tunnel that shone with great blue light. Amaru Maru passed into the doorway, left the disc with the shaman priests, and vanished from Earth to the land of the gods. Interestingly, investigators did discover a small, round, indentation in the rock on the right-hand column of the smaller doorway. The examinations led them to believe that should a disc-shaped object be inserted into the indentation, it would be held in place by the surrounding rock. 9. Abu Gorab, Egypt, the place of the gods. The Abusir Pyramids, site of Abu Gorab, has claimed to be one of the oldest sites on the planet.
Within Abu Gorab, lies an ancient platform made of alabaster, Egyptian crystal, and is said to be in tune with the vibration of Earth. It can also open the senses in order for a person to communicate and be one with higher, sacred energies of the universe. Essentially, it is a stargate and the sacred energies were the meters, gods. Interestingly, legends of their communication and way of travel between their world and ours almost mirrors the legends of the Cherokee Native Americans. The Cherokee tell of how thought beings who are formless, would travel on a wave of sound from their home in the Pleiades star system to Earth. As the legends of Abu Gorab being a stargate, there are also signs of what some would perceive to be advanced technology having been used to create the site. One example is the perfectly precise circular markings that have been drilled into the alabaster. 8. Ancient stone arrangement in Lake Michigan. In 2007, while searching for the remains of shipwrecks, scientists discovered a stone structure 12 meters, 40 feet, below the surface of Lake Michigan. Thought to be 9,000 years old, the structure has been dubbed Michigan's equivalent of Stonehenge. The discovery was made by Professor of Underwater Archaeology at Northwestern Michigan University, Mark Hawley, and his colleague, Brian Abbott. One thing of particular interest was a carving on one of the stones of a mastodon, which is believed to have become extinct 10,000 years ago, a possible indication of the structure's age. The location of the site has been kept secret, at least for now. This is part of an agreement with the local Native American tribes who wish to keep the amount of visitors to a minimum. While a lot of mainstream scientists are skeptical about the age of the site, and if it even has any relevance, many believe that it is the remains of a stargate or wormhole. The site has also claimed several bizarre disappearances and gained the title of the Michigan Triangle. In 1891, a schooner named the Thomas Hume vanished into thin air along with all 7 of its crew while sailing on the lake. In 1921, the 11 people who were aboard the Rosabelle disappeared without a trace, but their boat was found floating lifelessly in the water. In 1937, while on board the O.M. McFarland as it made its way along Lake Michigan, Captain Donner retired to his quarters to get some much-needed rest after a long shift on deck. 3 hours later, the second mate went to wake his captain. Finding the door locked from the inside, and with no response from the captain, he eventually broke down the door to the room. With the captain's quarters empty and with all the windows locked shut, Captain Donner had simply vanished. 7. Stonehenge, Wiltshire, England. One of the most well-known structures on the planet, if only by name, is the ancient rock formation known as Stonehenge. It is also one of the most contested and debated sites in history, both as to when it was built and to what its true purpose might have been. Mainstream historians claim that the famous arrangement was built around 5,000 years ago, partly from bluestones that were quarried from a site 386 kilometers, 240 miles, away. To some though, this notion is absurd. Geologist Brian John states that there been no evidence for this claim and no evidence that the alleged quarry even existed. It is said that when the first settlements were built in the area, 5,000 years ago, Stonehenge was already there and fully built. The ancient site is said to sit where 14 ley lines
converge in some feel, along with other similar ancient sites. This essentially makes it an energy portal or stargate. At least one incident in recent history may support this seemingly crazy theory. In August 1971, a group of hippies apparently disappeared at Stonehenge while trying to tap into the vibrations of the site. At around 2 o'clock in the morning, without any warning, lightning bolts suddenly struck and a severe storm was unleashed onto the area. According to the story, a policeman who happened to be on duty and in the area recalls seeing a blue light coming from the stones. A local farmer also stated he saw this. Screams could be heard from the area. By the time the policeman had made his way to the site, all that remained was the odd tent peg from the revelers' tents and the damp remains of a campfire. 6. The ancient Sumerian Stargate at the Euphrates River. There is a famous Sumerian seal that shows a Sumerian god appearing from a portal of his world into ours. The god appears to be on a staircase that is moving away from the person viewing the seal. On each side of the emerging god, there are strange shimmering columns of water. Another Sumerian artifact that claims to show evidence of stargates is that of Ninurta. Ninurta not only appears to be wearing a modern-day wristwatch, but is also using his finger to press what appears to be a button on the wall of the gateway he is standing in. Author Elizabeth Veg has written several books on the ancient Sumerian gods and kings and their alleged use of stargates in ancient times. One of her main conclusions is that there is a stargate in the Euphrates River, and has been buried and lost under the ruins of the Mesopotamian city of Eridu for thousands of years. Veg also states that the biblical verse in chapter 9 of the book of Revelation speaks of this stargate. The verse reads, Then the fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from heaven to earth, and it was given the key to the pit of the abyss. 2. The star opened the pit of the abyss, and smoke rose out of it like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke from the pit. 3. And out of the smoke, locusts descended on the earth. Although most scholars would agree that the word abyss refers to a large body of water, Veg argues that, as it's used in ancient texts, it is more likely to have a meaning more akin to portal. 5. Tiahuanaco, Bolivia, Gate of the Sun. Believed by some to be a portal to the land of the gods, the Gate of the Sun in Bolivia shares much of its legends with other similar sites in the Andes region. Tiahuanaco City is said to be one of the most important sites of ancient America, with legends stating that the sun god, Viracocha, appeared in Tiahuanaco and made it the place of creation, the place he chose to start the human race. Carved from one block of stone and thought to be 14,000
years old, the gateway displays what appears to be human beings with rectangular helmets. This has led many researchers to state the purpose of the gate is indeed connected to something astronomical, although this is hotly debated. The top middle of the arch features a carving of the supposed sun god and shows what look to be rays of light appearing behind and forcing their way around all sides of the deity's head. Although it now stands upright, when it was found by European explorers in the mid-1800s, it was said to have been lying horizontally. It also appears to have a large crack to the top right of the arch. It is unknown how this happened. 4. Ranmasuyuayana Stargate, Sri Lanka. Carved on a massive piece of stone wall and mostly hidden between the boulders and cave systems of Ranmasuyuayana, is what is believed to be a star map or star chart. The symbols carved on the rock are said to be a code that opens the Stargate and allows the opener to travel from this world to other areas of the universe. Directly opposite the star map are 4 stone seats or chairs. The name of the star chart is Sakwila Chakraya, which is believed to mean the rotating circle of the universe. According to Sinhala interpretation, Sakwila means universe and Chakraya means a rotating circle or disk. In many ancient Native American legends, stargates or portals were represented by rotating circles. Similar star maps have also been found in other ancient sites said to be stargates, such as the Abu Gorab in Egypt and many more ancient sites in the Andes of South America. Yet, mainstream historians disregard the notion that the Sakwila Chakraya is a portal or stargate. 3. Abydos, Egypt. One of the oldest cities of ancient Egypt, Abydos is perhaps one of the most important sites in Egyptology and certainly one of the most interesting. In particular, the Temple of Seti I appears to show hieroglyphs of modern flying machines, such as a helicopter, as well as what some would describe as a flying saucer. Perhaps even more amazing is how a lot of the site was discovered. A lady named Dorothy Eady had claimed to be the reincarnation of an Egyptian peasant girl named Bentershit and was the secret lover of Pharaoh Seti. She had become pregnant with his child, but before he could learn of the pregnancy, the peasant girl took her own life. Now in the 20th century, Dorothy was able to transcribe ancient Egyptian texts and even knew where the archaeologists should dig to excavate the remains of the ancient city. She seemingly knew where everything was, such as where secret chambers were and the location of gardens that had long since been buried. By the time they discovered precisely where she said they would be, people very much believed she was genuine. Strangely, people also witnessed Dorothy pressing on certain stones in the walls, as if she was expecting something to happen when she did so. It was as if she was trying to open a secret door or gateway. In fact, she had already spoken about these hidden doors that used to be there. In 2003, Michael Schratt, a military aerospace engineer, stated that Abydos did sit on a naturally occurring stargate. Even more controversially, that the U.S. government was very much aware of this and had actually utilized it. Was this what Edie was looking for when she was pressing stones in the walls? Aside from the unusual helicopter hieroglyphs, comparisons have been made to the paintings of Egyptian boats that were said to carry its passengers to the next world in the stars, being very similar to how modern-day
scientists would portray a wormhole, or at least the theory of one. 2. Gobekli Tepe, Turkey. Regarded as the oldest stone temple in the world, the Gobekli Tepe site features several rings of huge T-shaped stone pillars, each engraved with a carving of an animal such as a lion or a sheep. 2 of the pillars sit in the middle of these circles, almost creating an archway of sorts. The archway within these circles are said to be the remains of portals or stargates, which the ancient people who resided here used as a portal to the sky world. The T columns are very similar to the Gate of the Gods at Huayhuamarca in Peru. Interestingly, the Inca people spoke of a connection to the people from the Pleiades star system, which is also T-shaped. Like other alleged portals, Gobekli Tepe is situated where two ley lines meet. Although the site was recorded as far back as the 1960s, it wasn't until the mid-90s when the T-shaped pillars were discovered. As for its true age, estimations date it around 12,000 years old. 1. Sedona vortexes and the doorway of the gods. Sedona, a small town in Arizona, was once known by the Native American tribes as Nawanda, and at one time, a most sacred city to them. It is said the red rocks of the deserts that surround the small town can create vortexes with the capability of transporting people to another realm or dimension. Native Americans believed these rocks were spiritually charged, while sounds emanating from them have been reported. In the mountains of Arizona, claims to be the doorway of the gods, a strange stone arch portal to another time and space. In the 1950s, a local tribesman was aiding treasure hunters who were searching for gold in the mountains. He told them a story of his people, dating back to the 1800s, of three tribesmen who had discovered the archway while riding in the desert. The story goes that when one of them walked through, he simply disappeared. The other two, believing they had encroached on sacred land, fled the scene. The helpful tribesman stated he had also seen a strange incident at the alleged doorway. While out in the desert, a sudden rainstorm hit the area and turned the skies gray with clouds. As he turned to leave, he caught a glimpse of the archway, and saw that the skies through the arch were clear blue. He walked closer to it, seeing that the archway's image of the mountain range was the same and the only difference was the sky. However, he too, became scared, mounted his horse and returned home. He told the treasure hunters that only his people knew of the stories. He had only spoke of it because they had shown him kindness and to serve warning to not walk through the archway should they come across it.